Now that's significant. The Market Research Podcast.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining us on this latest episode of Now That's Significant, a market research podcast. This is your host Michael Howard, the Head of Marketing at InfoTools. Today we're joined by Bob Birdsell, ESOMAR's Membership Development Director for North America, and Dan Fleetwood, President of Research Suite at QuestionPro, and the Chair of the North American representative team for ESOMAR. Thanks for joining us on the show today, Bob and Dan.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Excuse me. So what's the most significant thing you're going to tell us today, which we'll unpack throughout the episode?
Yeah, I think probably the overlying theme or the trend here is that how the U.S. market research tech sector is growing and growing rapidly at a pace of around 24.3%. I think that's incredible. And clearly shows where our research sector is seeing opportunity both now and in the future as well.
Okay, so assuming this is part of a recently released report, could you tell us a little bit about the origins of this, Bob?
Yeah, sure. So this is actually ESOMAR's lens, which really we're sort of a global organization. I'm going to get into some of those details a little bit later on, but just as sort of a quick overview, and there's also probably people listening that may not be familiar with ESOMAR or realize, but we've actually been around for a little over 75 years. We've got over 50,000 professionals in the membership organization, and we're represented in about 140 different countries. So we're global, but we also have a history here of where some of this is coming from as well. Now, the stats that I was talking about just a minute ago, those come from our latest global market research report. And we'll talk a little bit about that also later on, or reference it at least. This is a report that's actually published each fall, and it's sort of a pulse of the industry worldwide. And in that report, the last report we had, it indicates the total output of the insight space this year will be over 130 billion US dollars, which is significant. And one interesting sort of side note to that is that as this report, and particularly in North America, this metric, again, being the fastest growing sector worldwide, at 18.9%, with the U.S. leading the way again at the 24.3%. Yeah, and Dan can probably talk a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, cool. It does sound interesting. Before we do dive into that, Dan, are you able to share a little bit more about your background and current role in the industry, and perhaps a bit of insight into your work you're doing as an ESOMAR representative as well?
Yeah, no problem. So in addition to my role at QuestionPro, I'm also the chair of the North American rep team here at ESOMAR. So with that, we lead a diverse group of individuals to help get the word about ESOMAR out. And really, I wanted to be involved with ESOMAR to help give back to the industry network. And what I really like about ESOMAR is the global nature of it and getting to really collaborate and correspond with people across the globe. So I think it's easy to pay attention to things that are only happening in your neck of the woods, but it's nice, especially in an environment that we all work in that's global in nature, to also know what's happening elsewhere and to connect with people, resources, and those networking events are really key. So I'm excited about that. And then also the numbers that Bob brought up are really encouraging as well in terms of our industry, our future, and the outlook of it. So yeah, I think all those things are great, and that's why I definitely am excited to be a ESOMAR representative.
Yes, I'm fortunate enough to work with another ESOMAR representative in Jeff Lowe. So he's also been named one of the Insights 250 people as well just recently too. So good to have that connection and access to the global perspectives you're mentioning as well.
Yeah, I agree 100%. That's really what's great about ESOMAR, is that global perspective, and then also making a big effort here in North America to continue to expand out. So I know that's Bob's main role here, is making sure that North America thrives. So it's been a really good, rewarding experience.
Oh, cool. So, Bob, how about yourself? A little bit about your role with ESOMAR and how you've been helping the industry prepare for the future.
Sure. So I started with ESOMAR a little over a year and a half ago, and really the goal, I think, so just prior to me coming in, a lot of the growth that we'd seen and the support that we'd seen to the membership in North America was largely handled through volunteer groups. The reps were volunteers. We had a lead at the time, Reg Baker, who did amazing work in kind of getting this region engaged with ESOMAR, growing some of the programs, started out with some of the academic initiatives and so forth. And then I think as that sort of transitioned and evolved a little bit, I came on board back in late January of last year to kind of take it on as more of a full-time capacity or full-time role. And overarching goals, I think, are really to continue to grow and support the membership, to continue to increase the member value. We've got a number of different benefits that are available to our members, and it's also creating sort of a greater awareness around what those benefits are, and getting those members to be more involved, more engaged is really the focus. And we're doing that in several different ways, with planning certain networking events, partnering with industry associations, as well as other great organizations like Quirks and Green Book, to increase, sort of our exposure at those events. And then we've got a young ESOMAR society, so our younger group of market research professionals that are kind of coming up through the ranks. We want to be able to provide them as much support and as much value as we can through the membership, and we also have got the academic partnerships. And so it's through those things that I find like this is where kind of the future is taking us, and where I'm able to kind of grow these programs, and really sort of my focus and role here with ESOMAR.
Yeah, cool. I'm also quite excited to see where the new AI Taskforce goes as well, which ESOMAR has been a part of as well.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that'll be exciting. And I'm happy to see that ESOMAR is taking a lead in that as well, with AI Taskforce. And it's something I'm proud to be a part of, is in addition to, the other duties at ESOMAR that I'm also taking on. But the AI Taskforce is really something that I think will help shape the industry. So excited to be a part of that.
Absolutely. So Bob, you mentioned the Global Market Research Industry Report earlier. Can you tell us a bit more about this now, please?
Sure. Yeah. So this is, like I said, this is our annual report. It takes a look really at some of the global trends as it relates to market research and insights. It talks about how the client-side companies are approaching and internalizing research, looking at some of those growth metrics in specific regions and sectors within the industry, and examines how certain external trends like inflation are also affecting the health of the space. It's got some interesting little pullouts within it as well, such as some of the top 50 insights companies and what their growth looks like and how they got to where they are. And again, it shows you ways that where the industry might be heading, where those opportunities could exist. It talks about mergers and acquisitions that have happened within the industry that year. And because it comes out in the fall, the data that we've been talking about here is really from our 2022 report, but we'll be updating that later on this year with the 2023 version.
Cool. So I'm interested in what you mentioned about the tech-enabled sector. I'm sure some of that data has been impacted wildly by what's unfolded this year around AI. Can you tell us a little bit more about this?
Yeah, you bet. I mean, you're right. So ChatGPT, largely taking hold at the later part of last year, and then earlier this year, in January, February, I think everyone was talking about it. And it's interesting that it's only 6 months old, right? It's pretty in the infancy in terms of, I think, a technology. So where we're going to be headed with it, I think is pretty incredible. And I think both daunting and scary at the same time. Like there's a little bit of excitement, a little bit of caution. And I think that's why there's the task force at hand. But right, everyone's talking about ChatGPT, generative AI. You can't have a conversation without it these days. And I think it's important though. It's something that obviously we're all excited about. But I think there's like, 4 to 5 main areas that I see as you should be keeping a close eye on rather. So really what that is like survey questionnaire creation. So the ability to enter in to the prompt what you want in a survey, and then it generates those tools for you. So that's very much happening right now, even in Question Pro. That's something that's going on. And it's nice because you can get that survey done within seconds. So a lot of that rudimentary stuff, I think overall will take over and help out researchers in general. I think data quality, I think before ChatGPT came, data quality definitely ruled the conversation. And I think now it's like a 1A and 1B situation with ChatGPT, generative AI, and then data quality. I think that's still going to be a key focal point and something that we can leverage ChatGPT and these AI tools to be smarter about and to help cut down on data quality help increase data quality and help cut down on the fraud that's in the industry. I think another thing is just improving with the time spent on a lot of these things, these tasks that researchers are doing, eliminate the time spent with coding responses, transcribing qualitative research into nuggets of information. I think all of that will be automated, and we're currently seeing that now. To go along with that, intelligent dashboards, the data that can be consumed in many ways, but with generative AI, being able to create these dashboards right away with those nuggets of information that you need from the research. And I think a final way is smarter insights repositories. We've seen this as a trend over the years with data repositories, knowledge management, whatever you want to call it. But I think by leaning on AI to generate some of those insights really collectively across multiple projects is something that we'll continue to see more and more of. So, I mean, those 5 things could be industries all of themselves. So pretty exciting where we're going to be headed here.
It's going to be really interesting to see how the whole synthetic response versus the human response thing plays out, because as we know with AI, that is answers that are pulled generally from a trained database. So that is anywhere from 3 to 12 to 18 months old. And what we know about market research is that's typically a pulse of what people are feeling right now. So you're going to have this dynamic where you're possibly going to be having some older information, insights coming through, and some new. So finding that balance between the two is going to be really, really interesting.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And what's interesting to me, because I remember when I first got started in the industry, I won't mention how long ago, but a number of years back, it always had to be like, make sure you're talking to like an actual person and you need to validate them. And now it's like, let's just use synthetic data. So it's interesting to me, like that juxtaposition between those two different points of thought. But you're right. I mean, with synthetic data, I think it's definitely here. And I think it'll become more of a thing continuing as we move along here. So it's very interesting shifts, I think, in the industry coming in the near future.
And there'll obviously need to be a really big push on helping to make relevant, fresh, and valuable that synthetic data as well. So that needs to be continued to be fed as well.
You're right, 100%. Yep.
So AI is certainly a huge topic with many applications in our industry. What is ESOMAR doing to address the challenges and opportunities surrounding the AI in the insight sector?
Yeah, I think just also, again, just building off, I know we touched on it earlier, and I think building off of what Dan was saying as well, I think we're going to see a lot more around AI and the developments, and particularly in the content that we put out and our GMR report, for example. But in the meantime, we did just launch our AI Taskforce, and we actually have a page dedicated to it on our website at esomar.org. ESOMAR, and I think the industry as a whole, sort of recognizes that AI certainly can present challenges in a lot of different ways, but I also think that we can see too that there's a lot of opportunity available within it as well. So the goal of the AI task force is really to do several different things. We want to be able to provide a crowdsourced directory that explains sort of what others are working on or what they're doing in this area. We want to be able to provide some professional guidance for questions, or when people are looking and they're not quite sure maybe where to turn. We're also going to have curated articles on specific topics available, and we're going to host discussions, or what we call sort of community circles around what are the most crucial topics. And we also do plan on providing monthly updates in our newsletter as well, all around that topic of AI. So that's sort of looking to be also a repository of information, but also to be able to create some guidance, or what our membership would be looking for. And there's several different ways too that individuals and members can get involved. We do have on our website, we have it listed, some of the upcoming discussion topics, those community circles that I referenced earlier. The topics are there along with some of the dates and times. You can register to participate right from our website. Also, there's articles and resources that are available and up there right now. And we're going to continue to add to that. And then the AI forum that's taking place in Amsterdam, this is going to be after our Congress event in September. So this will be happening around October 18th. And registration is also available on our website. And then specifically, if anyone is looking to be involved in the task force, if that's something you'd like to do, you can email me directly at bob.birdsell@esomar.org, and I can get your name and your information over to the team that's working on that. So a number of different ways to participate.
Very cool. So while AI is going to impact every industry, what else do we need to consider as we look ahead? Any ideas about upcoming trends that will shape the future of insights, both in your region and perhaps worldwide?
Yeah, I think we touched on it a little bit earlier with data quality. I think still, if, like I mentioned, if ChatGPT, generative AI wasn't dominating the conversation, I believe data quality still would be. So I'm happy to see a bunch of these associations really coming together and have an impact on the outcome and what we should be doing around data quality, because I think it's bigger than any one company, honestly. It really takes all of us as an industry to come together and figure this out. I think, you hear 30-40% of data sets having to be thrown out because of, fraudulent data. And I think it's something that we really need to solve, or at least reduce the amount of time that people are spending on it and the number of occurrences that it's happening. And it's not an easy problem, because I think as fast as technology catches up, people that are, the fraudsters and that are committing these things are catching up too, and they're getting smarter just as we are. So I think data quality is going to continue to be a hot topic. We touched on it, like it's synthetic respondents. Is that really the answer? It could be. Is it just cracking down and getting better data quality tools? That's probably part of the answer too. But I don't think that there's any one solution at this point that's going to solve it. I really think it's a collection of probably some of the smartest minds in the industry, and then also associations coming together, putting in guidelines, and then also companies that are really focused on it. So I think data quality is like probably the number one outside of ChatGPT, generative AI, that will impact the industry.
Not sure. Anything to add on that, Bob?
No, I think Dan covered most of it. I think obviously, yeah, the data quality is a big one. And that was also an initiative that ESOMAR was heavily involved with I believe 7 other local and global associations to kind of put some of that guidance together and share it out with the rest of the community. And it's really what that's really all about, is just, it's not any one person or any one organization. It's really this group collectively coming together for the betterment of the industry and making sure that, we're safeguarding it as well. So, yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's like the rising tide. We all stand to benefit if we all pitch in, don't we? So. So we've talked about the AI Taskforce, which is much needed. You mentioned the data quality team as well. Is there any other activities or programs our listeners should be aware of in the space?
Yeah, so we've got our flagship event taking place in September. That's our 2023 Congress event, September 10th through the 13th in Amsterdam. And we're really excited about it because it looks like it might be one of our best attended ever. We've got a number of great presentations that are going to be talked about. It's actually it's a full day event, 3 full days, plus a pre-workshop or pre-conference workshop. So it ends up being 4. And the theme of our Congress this year is supercharged. So it's going to bring you these four days of interaction and learning so that you're able to equip yourself with tools and knowledge and ideas that are really going to help you power up your insights. And we've got presentations obviously from the agency side, but primarily also on the client side, top brands such as Snapchat and Heineken, PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, Microsoft, L'Oreal, Meta, and many others. So we're really excited. We're really looking forward to it. And there should be a fairly large contingency from the US and North America as well. So we're excited about that. And then as far as additional activities and events go for the remainder of the year, we'll be also on site at the TMRE event that's happening in October. Just sharing with our members what ESOMAR is doing for the remainder of the year and even into next year. And we've got a WIRE partnership that we just finalized. That's the Women in Research Group. And, we're working in partnership with them on different benefits that we can afford to our membership with their accelerator, their business development program, which is an accelerator program in market research, and also their Kickstart program for some of the younger members, the YES membership. Those are kind of beginning their careers in market research. So we've got a number of things that we're working on and solidifying and looking to kind of move forward throughout the rest of the years, and really excited about actually all of them.
Very cool. Anything to add here, Dan?
Yeah, I just had a few things. I know the rep team is really focused on not only expanding our member base in the US and North America, but also I think just getting that information out and how can we help support members, and really you're becoming an ESO member to be successful in your job or industry, right? So we want to enable that through many of the different publications that Bob mentioned in the reporting and what you can get, and make sure that members are getting the most value out of their ESOMAR memberships. So those are a lot of things that we're focused on, and I know we have a lot of plans to help out in many of those areas. So just wanted to add that we're really focused on helping our members get the most out of their memberships.
Cool. So lastly, what are you both really excited about the future of the insight sector? So let's start with yourself, Dan.
Yeah, I think I won't bury the lead here. I'll say, all the generative AI, the ChatGPT stuff, I think that's probably the most exciting, and just what we can do with it. I think there's a lot of people talking about how can you generate, insights and reporting, but I think there's also another side of it too, with the generative images and art that also goes into it, and how can that play a role in platforms, in studies and so forth. So I think we're only scratching the surface. We're going to look back 5 years from now and think like, that's all you guys were doing. And now, I think 5 years from now, the stuff that I don't even think we can even probably comprehend some of the things that we'll be able to do. So I definitely see it as a huge disruptor in the industry. And it's something that I know that I'm keeping my eye keenly on.
And how about yourself, Bob? What are you excited about?
Yeah, I think it's just the opportunity that we've got around the AI concept, and really seeing where those challenges and opportunities might lie, and also being able to be a place where where people can come if they've got questions or they've got concerns, because that's obviously a real thing, and be able to come to a place within the industry with the associations and be able to understand sort of what is available to them and what they need to be aware of and what they need to know I think, being able to be sort of that voice is going to be critical and also exciting at the same time. So I'm looking forward to being part of, as much as we can in that space.
Absolutely. I think the one thing that I've been, I guess, most encouraged about is just the level of collaboration that we've seen in the industry. So if you look at it just from a mergers perspective and acquisitions, you've had so many organizations realizing they can't do it themselves. They need assistance in certain areas. So that's one particular point, and whether that's through acquiring smaller research agencies or technology companies, or even smaller groups coming together as well. And then also the amount of industry associations, etc. So we mentioned the task force, the data quality task force as well. Those there, a lot of joint pitches as well. So companies coming together too. So some really, really interesting things coming through there. And the world's getting more and more complex. So you're needing expertise in different areas to come together to offer the, I guess, the level of expertise and quality that we're needing to make use of all of the exciting stuff ahead of us. So
yeah, absolutely.
So if I can sum up what we've talked about today, so it's really connecting and empowering the world of insight. So we've heard from ESOMAR, from Bob and also Dan, equally ESOMAR, but also from his experience at Question Pro as well. Just I guess the state of the market research space and how it is growing. 24.3% year on year is pretty a good indicator that we're going into a strong place, particularly in the US, but also globally as well. So 18.9% impressive growth as well. So we've talked about a few different initiatives, etc., that's going on at the moment. And the task force, the AI Taskforce was one of them, how a lot of industry people are coming together to, I guess, to put their best heads together to make sure that we're producing a human-centered future. So we know the power that technology can bring us, but ensuring that researchers are part of this is going to be key to industry's success, but also the success of consumers as well. We had a look at the reports that ESOMAR published from their 2022 data. So we'll be looking forward to seeing what will be coming, I guess, live in the coming months with the 2023. We talked about ChatGPT and the role that generative AI will be playing in the industry as well. Some of the watch outs, so data quality, there was the synthesizing and the natural language processing and research as well. Some intelligent dashboards too, so some really interesting ways on reporting data, and also some smarter insights repositories as well. So going to be quite fascinating to see how this plays out. We talked a little bit about the challenges and opportunities surrounding the AI, surrounding AI in the insight sector. And really good to see ESOMAR taking a lead in helping to overcome these. And we talked about Congress that's coming up as well. So it's September 10 to 13 in Amsterdam. So it's shaping up to be one of their best attended ever. So I'm sure there's still a few tickets to snap up. So make sure you do check out their website there. And then we talked about what the future may hold. And it is, as we've seen, shaping up to be quite bright for us. So I think that covered most of it. Any final words to add, Bob and Dan?
No, I don't think ChatGPT could have done a better job summarizing it. So that was great.
No, that was great. Thanks so much for having us.
That's right. Thank you so much. Thanks both.
Really appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. So thank you for joining us on the show. Thank you for listening as well. If you have enjoyed our discussion, feel free to share this podcast or YouTube clip, however you're watching or listening to this today, with others. We'd appreciate leaving a review as well. And until next time, thanks for listening to Now That's Significant.